Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the Zone 33 and 34 Zoomformation call for May the 2nd. Great to see so many on the call, and I'm sure there'll be a few more coming in shortly. We have a great program for you this month. May is Youth Services Month, so the focus, as you might expect, will be on youth. But before we get to our exciting featured speakers, we do have, as usual, a few announcements. So let's start. Past District Governor David Lusty, can you give us a bit of an update on the Southland reception?
Thank you, Peter. Pretty exciting. We have, as of this morning, 498 people that have registered and paid to attend the Southland reception. For those of you who may wish to recall, this will be held on Sunday, June 5th, 2022, immediately after the second opening plenary session from 5:00 p.m. to 7:00 p.m. And it will be at the AC Hotel, Houston downtown, which is approximately half a mile from the John Brown Convention Center and certainly within easy walking distance of the plenary sessions. I've been working very hard with our head Sergeant at Arms, Mac Parker. We've got a great team of sergeants that will be helping us that day. We have a good plan to keep you in and out of the Houston heat, which will be a little muggy that time of year. So I would say if anybody has not registered that wants to, please do it soon, because this ballroom has a limited capacity of 527 people per the fire code. In particular, for any of our friends that are in the Caribbean, Jeremy, you might want to make note of this, that are not on DAC-DB. If you have not registered, I have put my contact information in the chat box. Feel free to call me and I will take your credit card information and register you over the phone. We're going to hold out about 20 slots for those folks, but after talking with Director Peter this morning, we're going to be cutting off registration very soon because we're going to be at capacity. So if you've not registered, please do so quickly. And if we cut folks, the registration off, please don't shoot the messenger. We are actually, I guess we should say we've been very successful this year, and we're looking forward to seeing everybody there. It will be a nice event. I think you're not going to find any offsite event that is priced better than this one at $35 a person. We're going to have a nice array of heavy hors d'oeuvres. If you want to make that a meal that night, you probably can. We've got 4 bars as well as the entire lounge of the hotel reserved for us. So I want to make sure that you can get in line and get a drink quickly and enjoy the fun and the fellowship. I think it's going to be a great event. And I want to thank Director Peter for giving me the opportunity to be the chair this year. And again, for Mac and his sergeants. So if you have any questions, you can text me, and I appreciate the time. Thank you, Peter.
Well, thank you, David. You're the one that we need to thank. You've done a lot of work on this. I think it's going to be fabulous. I love the fact that you'll be able to get a drink quickly. One of the criticisms of all Rotary events is that it takes forever to get a drink. So having 4 bars, this is going to be a fabulous event. And just on 500 people, can you imagine? I think this will be one of the largest contingents at the Houston Convention. And we've got preliminary acceptances from Shaker Mehta, Jennifer Jones, and Gordon McAnally. So you won't want to miss this. This is going to be a really nice event, as it always is. So thank you, David, for all that you've done, and we'll see you all in Houston. So now moving on to our next announcement, Past District Governor Clenese, the champion, the author of You've Been Served. Clenese, please give us an update on this wonderful initiative.
Thank you so much, Director Peter. Good afternoon, everybody. It is such a pleasure to see all of you all and to give you a brief update on the You've Been Served event. For those of you all who might be new to the call or haven't heard about this event, it was launched on February 23rd, which is Rotary's anniversary, and went until April 23rd during the week of Paul Harris's birthday of April 19th. And it was an opportunity for clubs and members to actually do random random acts of kindness and service in their communities. And I am happy to report we are actually creating a full report. We haven't pulled all of the numbers, but I just wanted to give you all a sneak preview of what we've gotten so far. But it looks like we had over 100 projects completed. Yay! More than 1,000 volunteers and over 10,000 hours of volunteer hours, I should say, which is just so phenomenal. So I thank all of you all for your participation. We are extending the time. If you did a project and need to go back in and actually input that into rotaryserves.com, you are more than welcome to do that. And we'll be pulling our final numbers within the next couple of weeks. But thank you all so much for your support, for everything that you did during this time. And thank you so much, Director Peter Kyle, for your support of this as well.
Oh, Clinice, we need to thank you. Thank you for your leadership, for your passion, your enthusiasm, your exuberance, your infectious personality. This has been a great initiative, simple, easy to achieve, and I'm glad that the districts have all responded. So thank you, Clinice. We look forward to a report in due course, but thank you and your team for all that you did to get this off the ground and to make it such a success. Well done. So now moving quickly to our next announcement. Past District Governor Tina Fischlin is Tina is one of the ambassadors for the Empowering Girls Initiative. She and Dawn Rochelle have done a fantastic job. Tina's going to give us an update on a very special event that's coming up very soon. Tina, over to you.
Thank you, Peter. Good day to all of you. And thanks for this opportunity to share about our final Empowering Girls webinar. Like Peter said, I'm past district governor of District 6910 in Georgia, and I co-chair with Dawn Rochelle, past governor from 7730, North Carolina. We have an amazing team: Clinice Platt, Anna Patel, Kim Walden, and the one and only Sean Patty. We've got a fabulous upcoming final webinar. As we all know, Rotary International President Shaker Matra is prioritizing projects that focus on improving the health, education, well-being, and economic security of girls across the globe. Over the course of this year, we have hosted 2 fabulous, well-received webinars, and you will not want to miss our final one. It is Thursday, May 5th, beginning at 11 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time, and we'll complete it at 12:15. You will hear from 3 fabulous individuals making a difference in the lives of these young children. Our first speaker will be Kay Williamson. She's with the Meriwether County Rotary Club in District 6900 in Georgia. She is the founder and director of Wraparound Care Centers. She will share with us how the center is addressing the needs inside school systems, from crafting individual It's a Girl Thing dignity bags to providing laundry services for students. Next, we will hear from Dan Quinn. He is the current president of the Rotary Club of Downtown Greensboro, District 7690, North Carolina. He is the founder of All Study Steps Tutoring. He will share how 8 Rotary clubs in that area come together annually for a barbecue that supports educational efforts for children in extreme poverty in Vietnam. Our final speaker will be John Huco. We are so excited to have John joining us, General Secretary and Chief Executive Officer of Rotary International and the Rotary Foundation. He is a charter member of the Rotary Club of Kyiv. He will share details on how the girls in Ukraine are being supported through the Empowering Girls Initiative. We all know that equality is a fundamental human right, one that is necessary for a peaceful, prosperous, and sustainable world. You will not want to miss this webinar. May 5th, 11 a.m. Eastern Time. Registration, I'll put it in the chat, but it's up on DAGDB and Zone 3334 website. Looking forward to seeing all of you on the 5th. Turning it back to you, Peter. Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Tina. This is fabulous. And let me just remind you that May the 5th is, in fact, this coming Thursday. So make sure that you dial in this Thursday. Tina and Dawn and Anna and Kim have done a fabulous job this year. Shaker Mehta is very impressed with the ambassadors that we've had with Empowering Girls in our district, in our zone. So thank you for all that you've done, and I look forward to the 3rd and final presentation in this series next Thursday at 11 o'clock. So finally, the Last announcement relates to COL, the Council on Legislation. As you know, we met in Chicago 2 weeks ago. It was a very constructive, congenial meeting. We dealt with 94 enactments. You can find the details on the Rotary website. I simply want to urge all the COL delegates who are on the call to please reach out to your district governors, your district leaders, and conversely, the district leaders, please make sure that your COL delegates report to you on the outcome of the enactments. As I say, we have just over 4 days, four and a half days of fairly intense debate. It was an amazing technological experience. As far as we know, it is the world's first time that a parliament has met online. We had 300 people in person, 200 people online. So some people were 12 hours, people in New Zealand were 18 hours ahead of people in Chicago, but they were able to listen to the debates in real time. They voted in real time. The whole thing was an amazing technological experience. And all the debates, all the presentations were translated into all the languages of Rotary. So people were voting and debating at the same time all around the world. Phenomenal what Rotary International did to the COL. So please take a moment to share the results to all those who may be affected by the council enactments. All right, that's all for announcements. So now let's pass on to the substance. And as I said, we have a great program for you today. Is the manager of programs for young leaders and alumni relations in Evanston. She supports a team of 12 that develop resources that build knowledge and capacity to elevate Interact, RILA, New Generation Service Exchange, Rotary Youth Exchange, and alumni activities around the world. She has a big job. As Youth Protection Officer for RI, she, along with several colleagues, advises on youth protection policies, procedures, and compliance. She joined Rotary in 1914 as a program and promotion specialist, transitioned into senior supervisor for Rotary's programs for young leaders in 2016, and began in her current role in December of 2018. Jessie earned a BA in International Studies with a certificate in Asian Studies from the University of South Florida. Prior to Rotary, she spent several years in marketing and at Japanese-owned trading firms and lived in Japan for 2 years, teaching English as a participant of the Japan Exchange and Teaching Program. Jessie, we're delighted to have you with us. The floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Director Peter. I'm glad to be with you all today. And as Director Peter mentioned, happy Youth Service Month. So I'd like to share with you today a very brief presentation about how you can get more involved in Rotary's programs for young leaders. So as I was introduced, I'm the manager for Rotary's programs for young leaders and alumni relations at International World Headquarters in Evanston, Illinois. My job is to help support you to do youth service. And I'd like to announce some very exciting new resources that Rotary International has made available, whether or not you're just starting out or if you're growing your programs or you want to get more involved. We've got some exciting new resources for you to explore. I'm going to give you a brief overview of these resources and then where you can go to find more and learn more about these resources and discover them yourself. But before we get started, let's just have a brief overview of the scope and impact of Rotary's programs for young leaders. And for the purpose of this discussion, we're going to focus on our programs predominantly for children under 18. So Interact, there are around 17,198 as of March. Interact clubs worldwide. So we've got a really great footprint, potential to engage lots of young leaders between the age of 12 and 18. And our RILA program has around 50,000 young people. This was a pre-pandemic number, so we know a lot of those programs have been suspended or have transitioned to a virtual space. But before the pandemic, we had around 50,000 young people, and 80% of those were under the age of 18. So predominantly engaging young people, youth, through this program. And then Rotary Youth Exchange. So currently we have 490 certified districts, including fully certified to host and send students, or outbound only or custom certified districts. In 68 different countries, and in the pre-pandemic, we had around 8,000 exchange students between both our short and long-term programs. So first, I want to talk to you about a new resource from Rotary International called Service Learning. So we partnered with a group called the National Youth Leadership Council to develop a framework called Service Learning, which is a predominantly classroom-based pedagogy to engage young people through service with educational outcomes. But what we did was translate this model to work in a Rotary environment for both school and club-based activities like Interact, or to be able to fit within the framework of RYLA or even Rotary Youth Exchange. So this is based on what you see on the screen here, which is in English, what we call the IPARD model, which includes investigation, planning and preparation, action, reflection, and demonstration to help guide young people and their advisors and mentors through the service project life cycle, including pre-service, service action, and post-service, to do projects that meet community needs while also delivering on educational outcomes. So why is Rotary focusing on service learning? Well, it's a proven methodology to create and inculcate in young people a desire to give back through service, but it's also youth-led. This is about putting young people in the driver's seat, giving them the tools to make decisions while guiding them towards their service outcomes. It also hones skills, what we've been calling 21st century skills or life skills like critical thinking, self-management, and leadership. And it creates a lasting impact, not only in young people who develop and hone their skills, but in the communities because they're addressing real community needs. So I encourage you to check out our service learning resources available in Rotary's Learning Center, including our Youth Guide to Service Learning, which is an online course with a downloadable workbook, and for adult advisors, a Getting Started Service Learning for Advisors and Supporting Participants two-part course. So for advisors and mentors, you'll find a learning plan, which includes all of those resources that you need to get started. We also encourage you to start conversations around how you're applying youth service in our discussion groups or in the learning topics in Rotary's Learning Center, and share your success stories so we can share them with everyone else on our Rotary Voices blog. We've got some brand new RYLA resources as well. So we've updated our RYLA handbook, which now has an increased emphasis on how to serve underrepresented or marginalized groups in support of Rotary's diversity, equity, and inclusion policies. So take a look at our RYLA handbook, which includes more resources for how to build your RYLA team, how to create youth voice and youth-led leadership development within your RYLA program, and how to encourage a better emphasis on diversity, equity, and inclusion. We also have a learning topic about RYLA and Rotary's Learning Center, where you can share ideas, best practices, workshops, evaluations, or some of your resources that you've created for your own club or district level RYLAs. We also have a standalone guide called Virtual RYLA Benefits and Safety Considerations, as a lot of people have pivoted during the pandemic to do virtual programming. We think this is something that could last well beyond the pandemic, but we also want to make sure people understand the benefits and safety considerations for hosting programs online. And then also in Rotary's Learning Center, a course called Get Ready District RYLA Committee to help support your district RYLA chair and RYLA committee members to create those safe and engaging programs for young people. Again, all of these resources are available in Rotary's Learning Center. And I'm sure a lot of you are interested and knowledgeable about Rotary Youth Exchange. And so the board has permitted in-person travel to resume again on the 1st of July, 2022, which is coming up very soon. So certified districts are preparing now to restart their programs, especially considering safety considerations, including updated travel requirements, visa requirements, vaccination. All of those things are determined by the country, the consulate that the students would be applying for sponsorship through. But Rotary does have some additional safety guidelines, including that every certified district planning in-person travel should have a crisis management plan, which really is to help support those districts doing in-person programs to know how and when to respond to the unknown. including infectious diseases, but also things like natural disasters or political unrest. So making sure our districts feel prepared to respond to crises and support students and volunteers. We have a guide for developing a crisis management plan, and our team is here to help support and answer questions for how those can be planned and implemented. Rotary International is also excited to be relaunching what we launched as a pilot in 2019 to the entire Rotary world, and you'll hear more about it very soon, hopefully, those of you that are involved in Youth Exchange. It's a pre and post exchange intercultural competency assessment survey called the Global Perspectives Inventory. So we worked with the Iowa State University to develop a pre and post exchange survey that will actually measure the impact on an individual student for participating in the program to develop some of those life skills and intercultural competencies. So we're excited to launch this in the coming year to give you yet another tool to measure the impact and growth that students experience as a member of this program. Lastly, I can't leave any presentation without mentioning youth protection resources. We have, again, as I mentioned, our crisis management plan guide and an on-demand webinar on the topic. We have our safety considerations for electronic and online communication, especially for planning virtual exchanges. We also have our interactive online learning course called Protecting Youth Program Participants in Rotary's Learning Center. And we also have a guide called DEI and Rotary Youth Exchange, supporting LGBTQIA+ students. And that's available on My Rotary. And again, if you have any questions about Rotary's programs for young leaders, you can email any of our email addresses. And I apologize, there's a typo on the screen here. It should be young leaders. So youngleaders@rotary.org, interact@rotary.org, RILA@rotary.org, youth exchange@rotary.org, and youth protection@rotary.org. And make no mistake, that does come to our team. So please feel free to email those questions, comments, concerns, and we'd be glad to support you. And don't forget also to subscribe to our newsletters. You just sign into your My Rotary account, navigate to your newsletter subscriptions, and check Young Leaders in Action and Youth Exchange News for all of those updates from our team.
Okay, Jessie, thank you so much for that amazing presentation. We all know how passionate our members are about youth programs and in particular creating safe spaces for these to operate in. So excellent presentation and great to see you. So let's see if there's any questions first around the room. Anyone got any questions for Jessie? If you could raise your hand, I'll see if I can identify anyone. Oh, Jessie, I think you've told everyone everything they need to know by the look of it. So a tremendous presentation, Jessie. Thanks once again. And I particularly look forward to working with you as Peter has done in the coming years. Okay. So at this point, it's my great pleasure to introduce another young leader, Camille Kanji. So let me give you a little bit of background about Camille. Camille has been engaged with Rotary since his attendance at the 2017 District 5360 Rotary Youth Leadership Awards. And this event sparked his love and passion for Rotary, which he then translated into joining his high school Interact Club and taken on many executive roles. Additionally, it was in this capacity that he was able to serve on several district committees as an Interact representative, such as learning and development, equity, inclusion, membership, and even serving as the youth chair for the 2021 district conference. He also recognized the need for further engagement of Interact within his district and co-created the All Interact Presidents Forum and Interact Symposium, which were events that brought Interact leaders from across the district together to share ideas and collaborate. Using this basis, he then went on to co-found and co-chair the Zone 28 and Zone 32 Interact Convention with the support of RI Vice President Valerie Wafer, and co-found and chair the Rotary International Advisory Council, which I'm very excited to be the incoming RI Board liaison for next year. Both these projects have provided greater international recognition and representation of Rotaract. And in 2020, Camille also joined the Rotaract Club of Vancouver, UBC, where he currently serves as the president-elect and a member of the District 5040 Rotaract Board. Please join me in welcoming Camille, who talk about tapping into the power of Rotaract. Camille, over to you.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Director-elect, and thank you so much, Doug, and Director Peter for the invitation. I'm very excited to be here today. I'm just going to share a little bit of a slideshow that I have. Awesome. Cool. Awesome. Awesome. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for the invitation today. I just want to let you know, my name is Camille, as was mentioned, and today I'm going to be discussing a little bit about what it really means to tap into the power of Interact. As was already mentioned, my Rotary journey really started out with my attendance at RILA, where I fell in love with Rotary and what it means to be a Rotarian. I really wanted to translate that into an Interact experience, and so I joined Interact and then went on to do several projects within Interact. Why that context was given and sort of why I wanted that knowledge to be known about, my engagement with Interact and RILA is because I needed to highlight, how important and fundamental youth programs are in Rotary and really how they shape the next generation of young leaders within our organization. Whether it be RILA, Interact, Youth Exchange, or any of the other programs, they all have profound impact on its participants. As you've heard, the program that has had the biggest impact on me is without a doubt Interact. Interact has really shaped my abilities as a leader and just opened so many doors for me, whether that be within Rotary or externally, or just, at large. But moving away from the personal impact that Interact has had on me, the program as a whole has seen this reinvigoration in the past few years with some really awesome projects and bodies sort of shaping this movement. I'll speak to the two that I'm most familiar with and most closely connected with. And so I'll start out firstly with the Zone 28 and 32 Interact Convention. I'm fortunate to serve as the co-creator and co-chair of this event. However, I want to speak about how and why such an event was created. Myself and a few other Interact alumni at the time recognized that Interact as a whole often operates in a very siloed fashion, or rather doesn't always have the resources or the platforms to be able to connect with one another on a larger scale or learn from one another in the same way that Rotarians are able to do. There's a recognition that Rotarians have events like the International Convention, the Assembly, different zone trainings, district conferences, etc. But often Interactors don't have access to these or lack their own platforms. And so we set out to change this. We wanted to build an event where Interactors across Canada and parts of the US could come together in a fashion that's never been seen before in order to hear from speakers, participate in workshops, learn together, engage with each other, and where people could leave the event knowing that they could connect with the club really anywhere in the world or anywhere within the continent at least, and create some really groundbreaking projects, and thus the convention was formed. In addition to being sort of one of the first events of its magnitude, it also has a team that is composed entirely of Interactors and Interact alumni, and really serves to embody the principle of not for us, without us. In order to make this event a reality, we had to go through, several phases, whether that be onboarding Interactors from across the zones to be on the team, gaining a group of Rotarian advisors, supporting districts and clubs and sort of their participation with the event, and of course, gaining the full and unconditional support of Director and Vice President Valerie Wafer, who leads the zones that the event will be taking place in. With all those things being considered, and while they're all important, what really has allowed the event to succeed is the passion and enthusiasm of the Rotary world around uplifting and creating opportunities to serve for young leaders. We see that this has become a growing trend within Rotary, where our organization has started to recognize the value young people bring to the organization and find ways to sort of include them into the fold. We also see that the passion and desire for Interactors to be more engaged with each other is also a driving force behind its success. Interactors want to connect, they want to learn, they want to lead, but need the platforms to do so. And it's really awesome that a platform like this is available for them to do that. Moving on to the newly formed Rotary International Interact Advisory Council. This was a platform that stemmed from many collaboratory efforts between Interactors from around the world. I'm fortunate to have been able to sort of spearhead the project, but it truly would not exist without the collective Interact community recognizing that there was a need for something like this. This council serves to advise the RI board on different ways that can enhance the Interact program, streamline the Interact experience, and works to create further platforms for Interactors to engage with one another. Just completed a very successful first year, and it begins its second at the start of the next Rotary year. Ultimately, the council is part of the culmination of years of efforts from people across the organization, whether it be interactors, Rotarians, RI staff, Rotaractors, to truly reimagine the role of Interact within our organization. You know, we saw that similar to sort of the formation of the Interact Convention, there's been a growing recognition in the need for unity and opportunities for collective growth and Interact at the global scale. And this council works to address that. It serves as a platform where interactors are able to come together and hopefully represent the interests of their peers and find ways to enhance the program, whether it be bettering the Interact handbook, creating global events, enhancing the global structures of the organization. It just represents an outlet where interactors are able to advise and help support decisions in regards to a program that directly affects them. We see that Interact is a global community of 350,000 plus young people. And so Rotary International taking steps to ensure that these members of the Rotary family have a voice at the table is a great stride from where we were just a few years ago. You know, it represents interactors wanting to make a better community for themselves and finding global outlets for that change. We see that Rotary is full of global change makers and that interactors are no less. They want to see a better future and know that one of the best ways that can be achieved is through the council. You know, overall, this council represents Interact being brought to the forefront of the global Rotary consciousness. And it's so exciting to think of all the possibilities that are right around the corner for Interact. Yeah, and you know, I hope from these examples we can see that Interact is on the up and up in our organization, and as Rotary leaders, there's much that we all can do to help support this growth, whether that be endorsing the projects of young leaders that come to you, using your club and district resources to help create and grow Interact projects, or simply making sure there's widespread knowledge that these opportunities exist. If Rotary continues to come together to support Interact and our youth programs in the way that it has, we truly will secure the next generation of Rotary leaders and ensure that our organization continues with the same vigor and passion for the next 117 years. So thank you again, Director Peter, for the invitation. And it's been great to be here.
Wow, Camille, thanks so much. I always love listening to Rotaractors and Interactors and the energy that you guys have. If we could just bottle that and sell that around the organization, we'd make an amazing amount of money for the foundation. So thanks for those great ideas and those great thoughts. And I look forward to working with you next year. Once again, now we have some time for any questions. Does anyone have any questions of Camille? Let me see if I can see any hands raised. Okay, well. You guys are doing well today. Two for two. Oh, it was, sorry, Lou, I thought that was you putting your hand up. You were adjusting your glasses there. So, okay, no problem. All right. Okay. Oh, no, we have Tom Fallon. Tom, if you want to unmute, fire away.
I have a question for Camille. Was the International Convention during the district convention, or is it completely separate from all other Rotary functions?
Yeah, so the Zone Interact Convention in Zones 28 and 32 is separate. It's been endorsed and is supported by Director Valerie, but it will occur in its own timeline. It occurs in October this year. It'll occur in October this year. The link to the website was there if you're interested to learn more. It's zoneinteractconvention.org, and it does operate separately. Yeah.
Are the clubs sponsoring the students to attend, or?
Yeah, that's right. So clubs across the zone are sponsoring Interact students to attend. You know, we've had students that are sponsored by several clubs together. We've had students who are sponsored by single clubs, and we've had districts entirely want to sponsor individual students as a collective. And so there are multiple outlets for that engagement. If you really want to get into the specifics of it, I'd be more than happy to connect and meet. I will put my contact information in the chat in just a second. And yeah, it's a really awesome groundbreaking event, and we're really excited to do it.
Thanks, Tom.
Thank you.
Thanks, Tom. Thanks, Camille. And you see there is a request from Gita to put your email address in the chat there so she can reach out to you. So once again, Camille, thank you so much. And I again look forward to working with you next year. So our next presenter is someone that I got to know a little bit at last month's board meeting. Peter and I and others, they had the tremendous opportunity to hear one of the most energetic and vibrant and targeted and focused presentations that we've ever had at a Rotary meeting, a Rotary board meeting, and certainly the ones I've sat on. Not to say that the Rotary board meetings don't have that sort of presentation from time to time, but this particular presenter, along with her colleague, did an amazing job. So it's a great pleasure. I welcome Aniela Caracedo, who's a 20-year-old Venezuelan student currently based in southern Mississippi, USA. She's an alumna of Rotary Youth Programs. She's been an interactor since 2017, a Rotary Youth Exchange student in 2019-20, and is now a member of the Rotary Club of Bay St. Louis in District 6840, where she is part of several club and district committees, as well as the DEI Circle of Zones 30 and 31. Annie is the founder and executive chair of Rotary Interactive Quarantine, a network of 900 interactors and Rotary Youth Exchange students from 80 countries. In addition, she serves as an alumni advisor of the Interact Advisory Council 2021-22 at Rotary International. She's passionate about youth empowerment and peace building. She's a member of the Rotary Action Group for Peace, Rotaract for Peace, and the youngest World Beyond War board member, a global nonviolent movement to end war and establish a just and sustainable peace. Annie, it's great to have you here, and we look forward to hearing what you're going to say today about promoting peace through Rotary youth programs. Annie, over to you.
Thank y'all so much. I'm really excited to be here and share with you something that I'm really passionate about. That's youth programs and peace building. I'm an alumni of the majority of the programs that Rotary has for young people, and I want to study peace building and conflict resolution at college. So this is just a wonderful combination of topics. I am gonna go ahead and share my screen, and because I'm from Venezuela. When I came here as an exchange student, I didn't speak any English. So I'm gonna activate the subtitles, the captions. So if you don't understand what I'm saying, you can read it. There you go. Thank you guys so much for the opportunity to speak here. We are really grateful for the opportunity and for your time. We are clearly passionate about youth programs, and we appreciate that you guys recognize the importance of young people in our organization. So we have been hearing a lot about peace recently, right? The war basically is the conversation today. And I'm really passionate about young people and peace building. So let's start from the why. Why should be young people involved in peace building efforts? So according to the United Nations, we are the largest and faster growing demographic ever on the planet. That means that there's not such a sustainable approach to sustainable peace and development without the meaningful inclusion of young people. And oftentimes, our community feels excluded in the decision-making process in terms of youth and peace and conflict resolution. So that means that we have to do a good job. We have to start doing a good job, including young people in peace building, all the areas, but especially peace building. So in order for us to take action, to take meaningful and lasting action, we need to know what we're talking about. We need to be educated. And peace education is such an interesting topic because there's a huge gap between the study of peace and the actual application on peace projects. Locally, our organization has done a great job by starting programs on peace education. One led by our director, Peter, that has done a great job leading this initiative on youth peace action. They have had amazing conferences and meetings and a whole movement that educates young people across your zone and peace education. And also the Rotary Action Group for Peace recently partnered with War Beyond War. I'm involved with both organizations. They recently developed a program that looks to bridge the gap between peace education and action. And they engage 100 young leaders across 12 different countries. Venezuela was one of them. And I was part of the leading team of the Venezuelan students. So as I said, there's a huge gap between peace education and peace action. Locally, Jesse shared with us the impact that we have in young people, all the programs that people can get involved to take action and create lasting change. So each of those programs individually has a huge opportunity to promote peace and use that the base of peace education. Sorry, as I said, there are always language gaps, so please bear with me. So there are huge opportunities in each individual program. RILA, there has been examples of RILA that have curriculums on peace building, the basic concept of peace building, conflict resolutions, violence, positive and negative peace. And it's an amazing opportunity for the students to learn about the basics on peace and how to solve conflict without violence. Of course, Interact, one of the basics of Interact is to discover new cultures and promote international understanding. We are asked to do at least 2 projects every year, one that benefits our community and one that promotes international understanding. So there isn't a better fit for this focus more than in Interact. And of course, Rotary Youth Exchange, that it's my personal favorite. We said that Rotary Youth Exchange build peace one person at a time, but is that really accurate? My host mom, that is also in the DG line, she was our youth exchange officer. And we were talking one of these days, and we really said that each youth exchange student affects at least 200 people in the year that they are abroad. I can say for myself that I was an exchange student the year of the pandemic. And when I came here in a little town in southern Mississippi, my entire high school thought that I was from Mexico. And they didn't know there was something else beyond that. And I started to do presentations about Venezuela and explaining to them, why do we have 2 presidents, 2 countries, why do we have 2 presidents, 2 Congress, and 2 Supreme Courts, and how that works? Why we have a refugee crisis? Why Venezuela is going through such a complicated humanitarian crisis? So they brought their concept about Latin America and South America and the entire war in general. And because we had an Interact club, we started a donation drive to the Venezuelan refugees that are in Colombia. So we started to see youth programs in a different approach, because we combine the power of youth exchange with the power of Interact to take action. So during the pandemic, I was an interactor, a youth exchange student, and many of my friends were in the same situation that I was. And we developed this approach to youth programs as a whole. What if we take advantage of all the benefits that these programs bring us together? What if we send the students to RILA and learn about basics on peace building and conflict resolution, and then send them to join an Interact club or to start an Interact club and take action with the information that they got? And then one of those interactors, just one, becomes a youth exchange student and bring the project to another country. We are talking about lasting impact here if we approach youth programs as a whole. And it's really easy to do. They just need to know about what everybody is doing. You just need to have a youth committee, a youth services committee in your district to take this approach. It's really impressive what we have done all together. As I mentioned, during the pandemic, a couple of friends and I started a group called Rotary Interactive Quarantine, and we are interactors and youth exchange students from 80 different countries that get together to share best practices and really create meaningful friendships. We have board members from Israel and Lebanon that have come to be friends, which was really impressive for all of us. We are happy to say that we're going to be hopefully a Rotary Youth Network. We're going to be presenting at the Houston Convention if you want to learn more about youth programs and how we can combine them all together. So there's a huge opportunity for peace building in all of these programs. And hopefully I'll be working with the Rotary Action Group for Peace to create a meaningful approach to the 3 of them. I'm really passionate about this, and I'm gonna start a career on peace building and hopefully include the Rotary and youth programs in that. So I'm happy to answer any questions if you guys have any. And yeah.
Annie, thank you so much. What an amazing presentation. Thank you so much. And we're all blown away, I'm absolutely sure. And great, and I'm sure the world will absolutely be a better place involving young people, in particular, young people involved in Rotary youth programs in the peace building field. Love the idea of bridging the gap between peace studies and application and action. And by the way, that was one of the most eloquent and clear presentations we've had ever on this Zoomformation call. So although I was very impressed with the little notes at the bottom, I don't think they were needed. So okay, over to the group. Any questions coming out of that great presentation? Okay, scanning, looking for a raised hand. Okay, Rudy Garcia's got his hand raised. Rudy, over to you.
Yeah, great presentation. When are you going to have the breakout session? What day? Is the breakout session going to be a conference?
Yeah, so our breakout session will be on Monday, if I am not mistaken, at 3 p.m. It's also going to be live stream. It's going to be one of the 17 breakout sessions that's going to be live streamed. So you can also watch it in the online component of the convention. But it's on Monday at 3 p.m. and I can confirm the place, but we're going to be sharing on social media. We're excited because many of our team members, we have been working remotely for years now. So we're going to meet for the first time in Houston.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Annie. Thanks. And Ranjit, I think you have a question as well, if you want to unmute. Ranjit, you'll need to unmute from your iPhone. I know that's not that easy to do, as easy it is on your computer. Okay, all right. Ranjit, if you may want to type your question in, or Annie, if you want to put your email address into the chat box as well, then I'm sure Ranjit will be able to ask that later. Okay, what a great set of presentations, and you can see from the chat how excited everyone is in relation to the to what we've heard today, and I totally agree. I mean, it's bodes so well for the future of our organization, seeing the energy and the talent that we have coming through our youth services programs. So Peter, I think now is the point I can hand back over to you for closing out.
Great. Well, thanks, Jeremy, and I echo everything that you said and more. 3 fantastic presentations. Jesse, a great overview of all the programs that Rotary is engaged in. Thank you for giving us the resource page. I'm sure that'll be very helpful to everyone. Camille has had to leave. He has a real job. He had to leave to go back to work, but we thank him in absentia. Annie, your passion, your enthusiasm, we've listened to you several times. It's great. I think you'll find your session in Houston will be sold out. So everyone will want to get there early. I wish we had more time. There's a lot more we could hear, both from Annie and from Camille and from Jesse, but that's all we have for today. Thank you for participating, everybody. The next Zoom call will be our final call for this Rotary year, and it's going to be on Tuesday, June the 28th. And you may wonder why so late. June the 3rd, I think almost everybody on this call will be in Houston. And I'm just so thrilled that we have basically 500 people from our 2 zones have signed up for the Southland reception. That will be one of the largest contingents in the Rotary world. So thank you for registering. So we won't meet on the 3rd, and I'm going to be away for the next 2 weeks. So we'll meet in the final week of the year. It'll be a kind of a handover from me to Jeremy. We're still developing the program. But you won't want to miss it. So Tuesday, June the 28th, 1 o'clock Eastern time.